Struggling forlongs, I have lived mementoed, mills on mills of mancipels. Lo, I have looked upon my pompadours in their ease and seas, and my drummers have tattled tall tales of me in the land in morganatics lit, I hope. In several cellars louched I bleak mealers. On my siege of the mighty I was parsival of my subject, but in sweet walks that are darkest I debelled them superb. I deemed the drug tails in my petticoats, and dumpster dusty feet in my hussin close. At guys they were swathed, at folk slashed, the game for a Gomez, the lawyer for a Lynch. If I was Unagamonus Moss. A steady love-giver I revolutionized by my eruptions, the high and by-way seeds I scattered em, in my graben fields sowage I gathered em, in Sheridan Circle my wits repose in black pits of the pested Lenfond. He is dummed, hearts of oak may ye root in two-piece, Racia bits abstain, clayed sheets, pine-shrouded, wake not, walk not, silento. Moag, quo warranto, has his greats, my Sullivan and puissant Lord Viking, regards for me, and he has given to me my neck Namesh, flister it, which is second fiddler to Noman. These be my genteel arms, at the crest two young frish, etoile flappant, devoiled of their habiliments, vested sable, with druers argent, for the boss a coleopter, pondant partifesse-wise, blazoned sinister at the slough proper, in the lower field a tierce of lanciers, shaking unsheathed shafts, their arms crossed, in salt tire embusked sinople motto in letters portent, Herve cross of a hoodie. Idle word repassing from earls to ground, to the elder inquire whether I drag asunder be the fourth generation of group marriage, holy cryptogram, of my essence, or carried of cloud from land of locust in ousel galley born, I huddled till summons, be the mass product of teamwork, three surtoots ripped up in itchos, two twin petticoats, lived as one, troubled entwined, or doubled in two, for Abram nude be I, or robe royed, with the Fenians of Fijian crafted ape on merfish, surrounded by obscurity, by my virtues of creation, and by boon of promise, by my natural-born freeman's journeyman right, and my other churches ehal, in so and such a manner as me it so bestitteth. Most surely I pretend and reclaim to opt for simultaneous, till day bow break and show shadows flee, thus be heck verily, verily time place. What is your numbum? Who gave you that poo? Have you put in all your spare pennies? I'm listening, Sree. Keep clear of pro pennies, for Mr. Televox, Mrs. Tobistim, and invisible friends, I may mean to say, annoying part of it was, had faithful Fulvia, following the weaning courses of this world, turned her back on her ways to God on uphills upon search of lovers, brunette men of Yoreland, chief North Paw, and chief goes in Blackwater, and chief Proud Pool, and chief Night Cloud by the deeps, or again had Fluvia Amber, which she was, left her chivalry crocus bed at the bare suggestions of some prowling bywaymen, for mo a bit who could have abused of her. The fox rogues there might accrue advantage to ask where in Pell-Mell her deceivers sinned, yet know it was vastly otherwise, which I have heard it by mummy good waif, as I chiefly end most heartily of her. For Fluvia, ill woman, to the plusly born, ever did ensue till stead the things that pertain to fairness, this whom I am fond on, that which was lost. Even so, for I waged love on her, and spoilt her undines, and she wept, "O my laws, till we meet ere we part." Tolalal, this time 100 years. But I was firm with her, and I did take the reach of my delights, my jealousy, masked, be masked, ear-swathed, snout-snooded, and did raft her flumming worthily, and did lead her overland apace, from Lack Sleep up to Live Slope, tiding down as Portreeve should, whimpering by Kevin's Creek and Hurdlesford, and Gardener's Mall, long Riverside Drive, Embankment Large, to Ringside and Flot and Ferry, where she began to bump a little bit, my dart to throw, and there by Rave Brink, on strand of south, with mace to mast high, tailor's cow howling, quailess high jakes, did I uprease my magicianer's puntapool. The trident side, a trident stock, Farula, and I bade those polyphysy boisterous seas to retire with themselves from Osrook wards thou sea Stamaro, and I abridged with Dumfried Norsemanship, till I had done abate her maiden race, my bearsark bride, and knew her fleshly when with all my body did I her worship bin Brillups wibe. Heaven he hal thundered, heydays he flung bliss for hers, and I cast my 10-pan joys on her arched, overtopped from bank to call to echo bank, by dint of strongbow Galata, Galata, so streng we were in one maelstream in She-Gulf, and to ring stress I thumped her with the end of Erin, and tradesman arched her life-lang mind for all and singular a day, egon immigons, and for ever guards. Base your beak, you strike your flag, what screech of shippings, what low of dumpfulls, from Liveland hooks of Sivios, from Letland Skalvives, from impress of Asias and Queen Columbia for her pair of nymphs and Shingen sands, for Hebrides music goes gaze anointed me uns ganai ganzoned, and me to she her shy blooms lifted, and I put a name and wedlock bolted round her, the which to carry till her grave, my durden dearly appia lipia pluvia brilla, whilst I her lifer arm stell and bean I chained her chaste mate to grip. Fuming snugglers her chambret I bestank so to spoonish furiosos, I was her hawk-sized, her clairvonto, her Everest, she was my Annie, my Laurelad, my Pisoved, who cut her ribbons when naught my prowess, who espoused that haven-less liness, to beach shalured anchor rides, why not I fripe forter, in Trinity huts they met my dame, pick of the poke for me, when I foregathered 'twas my sumbad, if I far seeker itch my list, had I not work it in my cattegut with dog hunds quots to clean, and had I not gifted of my coast the ways Constantinople's aim, and fortified by my right as man of capital, I did umgirdle her about my vermicelli vingaret with all loving kindness as far as in man's might it lay, and enfranchised the liberties of fringes, and I gave until my Lilia younger turkey thighs, soft goods and hardware catalogues pass him, and ladder-proof hosiery lines see stockingers raiment, coquettes coiffs, see Agnes hats, and penningsworths of the best taste of nags, of jets and silvered water roses and gewgaws, of my pretty novelties, and wispy-waspy frocks of red ferns and laurel worths, transparences such as a woman cattle bear, and peltries piled, and the peak of pims and slide, and spowers lumens dade luminused, luxuries on looks, la pramamere perine, order rainbow suria diva, and on quinoline, wide a shire, and patterns for her trilobies, that know she might the torturers of the boots and beads of wampum with to toy and the mercery glaze of shard to mirror, for all daintiness by me and the times, the cup and nagging hour, and I wound about my swanshan's neckplace a school of shells of moils marine to swing their say-sangs in their silence, and upping her at king's count, her aldrich cry, a loss unheeding. What though exceeding bitter I pierced her beak with order of the Danebrog, Cunig's great Solev, with mares, grease, cressets, and leonards, and Durham's fees and Madonna's lanthorns before, Quintacassa and Talon Kindle spear-headed, singing Knickenbookers and mutton light burns, dipping downs in black holes the tapers of the topers, and his bunting pal at hoist. For days there was no right night of nights, were days and our folk had rest from black heathen, and the pagans from the prince of Passes was what was trembling sod quaked no more. What were frozen loins were stirred and lived gone the sepulchre, dark, deadly, dismal, doleful, desolate, dreadful, desperate. No more the Tolleyman's bloody, gloomy, hideous, fearful, furious, allowing, terrible, mournful, sorrowful, frightful, appalling peace, perfect peace, and I hung up at the Yule, my dwindling lunas helped of Ketile, flash nose for the super whore of my frigid one, Columba mere, Fremosa mere, in waste windy tarred strata, and Elgin's marbles, halls, lamping limb from black to block, through all Livarnia's vaulted empire from anodes to cathodes, and from the top azolates of morn, winking low flare, by arc-closed sapphire Siomen's lures, and Rexterford's hook and crook lights, to the polders of his Kinsella. Haven't you seen my pearls a-humming, the crowd to my estuarine monopiscine? 3 firths of the sea I swept with draughtiness, and all empties I bottled 'em up in Bellum Port. When I stabbed Maroon Jack and Maturin I was a bad boy's bogey, but I was when I went on to Sankt Petersburg that they gave my devil his dues. What is Caesar can hack in the old world, a sawyer may hoe in the green. On the island of Breezel the wilt of me perished, and I took my ploughshare sadly, feeling pity for me sword, where bold O'Connie weds on altar Meha, the tawny scrolling beside that silver burn. I sate me and settled with the little creature of my hearth, her intellects I charmed with, I call their mutual thoughts. Her turly hide I plumped with potatums, for Armuse peas in plenty, my bilbless beadle showed her triumphs of crafty guild pageantries. Loftus Adam durft our costerclother, Conan Owl, with core-toppled basket, sire Noah Guinness, exposant of his bargeness, and Lord Joe Star to hump the body of the camel. I screwed the emperor down with 9 pins, Gaelic with 6 penny halfpennies for his hangers on. My worthies were bist and tryst from Joshua to Godfrey, but my process profitarum they would have plauded to perpetuation. Moral book de Bezure see press. He's not all boom and bully, but his members handily food him. Stevings grained for Screet Collegium, the SS Powdrake in the harbour. And after all these things I fed her my Carlin, my Berlin Linsteer, upon spiceries for her garbage breath, italics of nobby launch, and the rich morsel of the marrow bone, and chains of garlics, and swine's pepper, and gouter krauts, and pinkadillicks, primes of mechalays, and subtleties in jelly-work, come the feast of St. Pancras and shortcake nutrients, for pays and pinksters pudding, bready and nuttalled and potted flesh neats, from store damn cooking, and the drugs of Carver, and jalapa and shallots, out of Ascalon, feeding her food convenient before, to pass them into earth, and to my soft-running, breathing mongoloid. The skin zig I gave Biox, pulver, and olives oils unguents of criticure, for the swarthy seashells face on her, with hand ewers and groin scrubbers, and a carry can to tease her tussie out, the brown but comely a mopser's broom to doest estate, the club moss and wool's foot. For her more moister words, amazing efficiencies, and my shop-soiled doveling, when weeks of kindness kindly civilized in our saloons esquirial, with fine glass bourbets, draped embrasures and gilt-edged librariums, I did devise my telltale sports, at even bred to ring her withers, limberly wheatears, slap bang drapier cut dean bray nap spinado, and ran to go round. We had our lewd mayors and our lardy mayoresses, kowtowing and smulling full face on us out of their famous latinesses, oil-clothed over for cohabitation, and all pointed by hind, Tam Lane the Cossacks, Dirk Wettingstone, Pieter Stuyvesant, Outlawry O'Neill, Mrs. Currens, Mrs. Raisin Fagus, Mrs. Dattery, and Mrs. Prunery Quetch. In him we trust. Foot-wash and sex principles apply to overseer Amos 5:6. She had dabblings time for exhibiting her grace of aljambras and dunskings. The blood and oops in her vauxhalls, while I, dizzed and dazed by the lumpty-thumpty of our interloopings, fell clocksure off my ballast. In a Wintor palace did vampired for Ellanders. We lubbed sure good for the sleep and the ghosts. She shoved her fusees at my wiggins. Jules, while she scalded her memories on my snorri son sagos in paycooks, Thron Sala she domineered, lecking ices off the dormer panes, all admired in her camises. On Widow Row, Duana dwells. You mark well what you see. Let wealth were I her panto creator, would there be tights for her goods? In literate wedding hats and cindery yellows, and tinsel and glitter, and bibs under hoods. I made nuisance of many well-pressed chimp d'amours, and peddled freely in the scrub. I foredreamed for thee, and more than full-maked, I prevened for thee in the haunts a joy-belled frail, lighter leaves for sturdy traymen, bells ad homers summers. I said to the shiftless prostitute, let me be your fodder, and to roaders and prated brothers, ciao, camarade. Evangel of good tidings, omniscient as the healer's word, for the lost, loathsome, and whomsoever will, who in regimentation, through liberal donation in coordination for organization of their installation and augmentation, plus some annexation and amplification without precipitation towards the culmination in latification of what was formerly their utter privation, competence, cheerfulness, usefulness, and the meed shall, in their second Adams, all be made alive, any vow tug steered down canal grand, my lighters lay longside on the regalia water. And I built in herbs in Rua, for Minnie Elskedy my shiny brows, under astrolabe for my observatory, an erd closet with shown, ejector wherewithin to be quit in most convenience from her Sabbath needs, when open noise should still be. Did not I fix with mortar board my anniversaries, wholly rational and got alike, sophister, Agan, sophister, life-size as all? Was I not rosetted on 2 stellas of Little Egypt? Had not I rock-cut readers, Hyros, Gregos, and Democriticos, triscastellated, bimedalized, and by my 7-dialed, changing charties, Hibernesca, Ulet says, made not I to pass through 12 thread needles at Newgate, and Vicus Veneris to coincide? My camel's walk, colossa, no porta sublimer, Bened, my gates. I polled ye many, but my fews were chosen, voter, early voter. He was never too oft, for old Sarum terminals for my staties were, the Gina, the Grease of ye. the Debiwek, the Myth Grievous, and I sept up twin ministers, and pro and the con, my Stavekirks wove so nasty, of peeled wands, and Atchatucci floodmud, now all loose brick and stone fest, freely masoned arched for covenanters, and Shinner's refuge, descent from above on us. Hagia Sophia of Australia, our orisons thy nave, and abseeds our iron tone, aeons thy stood avast. Vault. Hams circuitous Shemites retrace, horns hush, no barkies, hair around is hollied, all truant trulls made I compul, all rubeling gnomes I pushed, Gow, castles, Redmond, Gandondine, Shepherd Smythe, Neville Heaton, Stony Foley, Foul Fnost, with Thony Croft and Hogan too, Sprid serve me, Goblin's guard, deck my Tilleries, O tribes, O gents, keep the peace of my four great ways, O Theos infernals, to boost salvation, arcane celestials, to Swettenberg's well hell, my seven winds, I trail to Mazer, and ever a wind, and saving closes, and all these closes flagged with the gust. Hoops for her, hats off for him, and ruffles through knee-blouse. Guarding. And that was why Blabus was raising his wall, and altering the Suzannes of his neighbours, and thirdly for earwigs, I did reform and restore for my smuggy piggy's knees, my sweet colloct, my Auburn, coy-quailing one, her paddy palace, on the cross and all with Masgo bell, 6-ton clash clochant, duomenos, and mures attentis to commend the fitful, doom adamind, a doom adamandum, and the oracle of the louds, to tell forth's glory, and added thereto a shallow lava to slub out the hellfire of posied windows, for her aureal house, gospelly pubilier, Christus pubilier, Zachputs babazunded, all guns, towelled, and she sass her knack, chilly bum, and 40 bonnets upon the altar stain, may all have mossy honours. Hoke, 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 and whole hail, snaff fell, dreary drizzle, or sleet showers of blessing, where it froze in Chalix Ella, swum in the vestry, with fair skin book and ruling rod, vein of my virgin page, her chastener ever I did learn my little Anna country mouse, in alpha, beta, camel temper, from Alder Burke to Tannen U, with Myra Ratten atta dundun, oya, 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 and I did spread before my livy where lords street lowls, and ladies linger, and chamomile pass cuts primrose rise, and Connie Bend bounds, Mulberry's Island, but never as blooded, or blooded, since long ago, when the whole blighty acre was blady well pessovered, my selvage mats of leached rugged lawn, my carpet gardens of Girton City, with chopes primamodos, moose slimes, and beacons fires, and collar sets, and pencil terraces, for the bus pleaches of the summer maries, and esplanades and statuesques, and templogs, the Pardigel of Maynooth, Fra Teobaldo, Nielsen, Rare Admirable, Jean de la Portalo, Connell Greatercloak, Guglielmus Cowlus, and the Aelith Ediculus, Pacificad Glorietas in Excelsior, for irk days and folly days till the compul anniums of Calandarias, Gregoria Maios, and Gypsy Julians. As such a pleased of theirs to walk, and I planted for my own hut, Lisbon Glass a quickset vineyard, and I fenced it about with huge Chesterfield elms, and Kentish hops, and rigs of barlow, and bowery nooks, and green-wished villas, and Pampos Animos, and Ni, necessitates iglesias and ponds, for aqueducts and hawthorn dean, and fairy glen, the hollow vale, the dirk chase, Finnmark's how, against Licky Budmonth and Gleena month, with a magic seed wall, rim, for a queen's garden of a phoenix, and hush, I brood for my alpine plough rebel, wig warming wrench, speakeasy, my Granville brand old Dublin Lindub. The free, the fro, the frothy, fresh in a pussyfoot to split the spleen of her mow, and I laid it down before the trotters to my eblement. Ebledite, my stony battered waggon ways, my north-south curriculums, my Eastmoreland and Westmoreland running bowler wards and sidily parading. Herdsmen upslow nuptialas get so daunting, whereon in mantum of truman like Yahoomen, expect till duct, conduct or summoneth him all farts to pay, velkommen all, hanky-hunk, in this wrong of horsey I Clydesdale with Arbin streets, Roma Reichs, Vichy shores with Hazebin kings, trumpeters, mad-ridden mustangs, buck-arrested broncos, poster-shays and turning taxis, and tall Tilburys, and noddies. Although others giggling gaily, some sedated, in sedans, my prick-hopping gents, aroga, my damsels, soft-side saddled, covertly, and lordy door a perch behind, the mule and the hinny, and the jennet and the mustard nag, and piebald, shelties and skewbald, ornies, step it lively, lift ye the left, and drink ye the right. For her please hadur, and she laughed in her diddy-dim domino to the switcheries of the whip. Down with them, kick, play up, mataha, maraha, luaha, Joanna, Hanna.